for the ladies. Very much so. Welcome back to Eddie B TV. I am, of course, Eddie B. Nice to see y'all. And we are back at you again today for another reaction video. And today is Women's Wednesday, y'all. You know, I'm really glad that I set this up, man, because, you know, as much female comedians out there that aren't all that funny, you know, I'm very happy that I have my favorites, you know, because a lot of people out there think that the ladies can't be funny. I'm not one of those people. I think they very much can be. I just think that sometimes some of them might try too hard, but then I do have my favorites, like I said, that know how to get it done. And I'm gonna get into somebody that I have not gotten into before, and somebody who is definitely just one of my overall favorite people in stand-up comedy. And we're gonna get into some Sarah Silverman today. All right. Now, the first thing that I ever saw Sarah Silverman in, it was in this movie, I think it was, Overnight Delivery. It's the first thing that I ever saw her in. And I've always thought that she was like hella sexy and like, you know, but she's still like very funny. She has a lot of awkwardness to her on stage, and it's always ringing funny to me. So I don't know what anyone else feels about her, but definitely one of my favorites. Beautiful and funny as hell, and I'm gonna get into some of her today. And this one is gonna be titled, Dad Taught Her the Most Tasteless Jokes. Well, I have an uncle, a couple of uncles who used to teach me some tasteless jokes. Tasteless is funny, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what I love the most about comedy, is like everyone thinks that it's so tasteless. So what? That's kind of the thing that makes it funny. You know, people think that certain types of things are funny and other things aren't. Well, I'm exactly the flip side of that. And yeah, man, I'm just gonna hopefully have some fun with this one. So yeah, let's go ahead and react to this one. Like I said, Sarah Silverman, Dad Taught Her the Most Tasteless Jokes. And if you like this reaction, please like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. Keep everything going. Keep everything going for me, y'all, please. Pretty please? All right. So yeah, man, no more talking. Let's go ahead and get right on into this one. Sarah Silverman, Dad Taught Her the Most Tasteless Jokes, right here on Eddie B TV, Women's Wednesday. Let's get all that on with the ladies today. Let's get situated on. Here we go.
Okay, I had to go to sleepaway camp every year since I was six years old. And it was terrible for me because I was a chronic bedwetter till I was like 15.
Oh.
So it was a nightmare. I learned a lot of skills like complete disassociation, making a cot over soaking wet sheets while I stink like piss and pretending like that's not the case. What kind of parents would send a chronic bedwetter to sleepaway camp? They must be monsters. No, they're not monsters. Here's the thing, okay. Like my dad, his dad beat the shit out of him every day. And then during the school year, he was sent away to Goyam, to boarding school, to boarding school. And then at boarding school, he got the shit kicked out of him every day, called a dirty Jew kike, because it was back when, like, America was great. And
oh my God.
and then in the and then in the summertime, he went to camp and blossomed and was a star and was like everything he wanted to be. And so parents, they just think, you know, he just thought, no, camp is great. It will define her. It will be her joy, because that's what it was for me, you know? So I had to go to camp, and as a compromise, he would give me joke books because I loved jokes, and then also maybe I'd make friends that way. So I remember this summer I was 8 because I had just learned to read when I was 7. And someone in the audience when I was in Vermont was like, oh, it was 4. Fucking good for you, I was 7. I learned to read when I was 7.
Yeah,
so I was 8, I was excited, I had books I was gonna read. And my dad has no boundaries. I don't know if he flipped through these at all or didn't, but it was Truly Tasteless Jokes, book 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I remember the first joke on the first page. It was like a paragraph long, but I can tell it to you in 2 seconds. It was, Little Red Riding Hood, blah, blah, blah. And then the big bad wolf is like, I'm gonna eat you. And then Little Red Riding Hood's like, eat, eat, eat. Doesn't anybody fuck anymore? And I'm like, what does this mean?
I like that. I gotta use that.
Then when I was 30, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's so inappropriate. He was, my dad he has no boundaries. He's not appropriate. I don't really, he treated us like bros. Like, I remember one time when I was really young, he and my mom went on a double date, and when he came home, he like plopped down on the front hall. There was like a bench in the front hall, and I was sitting there, and I asked him how it went, and he was like, oh, it was the fucking worst. We were supposed to go out with the Sterlings, and then only Mr. Sterling showed up because he said Mrs. Sterling had a period, and when she gets a period, it comes out like liver. And I'm like, I don't need to know that. I was like, Dad, I get it. Like, I'm 5, and I don't even need to know that. But my dad, camp was where he thrived, and like, they're still his best friends to this day. His best friends are his friends from camp. And he's about to be 80, and they're having a reunion even. And he has a picture of all of them when they became counselors. And it's amazing, it's from 1953. And I said, Dad, you have to send me this. And he sent it to me with like a glossary of who everybody is and what they're doing now. And it's like, this is Phil Holman, he's a judge now. This is Arnie Goldstein, you know, he owns Martin's House of Cloth. This is Danny Gold. Danny Gold once gave Punchy Kramer a BJ and we all watched. This is Cy Schwartz, he works at the Clam King. This is ba-ba-ba, he da-da-da. This is Morris Simon. This is Punchy Kramer. This is, you know, blah-blah-blah. I'm like, Dad, open with it or close with it. He has no sense.
That's funny, man.
So he went to camp all the way up until he became a counselor. And, you know, we think of counselors like as grown-ups, but, you know, they're 16-year-old kids. So for each camper, he had to fill out a form every week for each camper, and it would say, like, is he behaving? Is he sleeping? Did he brush his teeth? Did he go to the bathroom? And under that, it said L/H. And my dad didn't know what that meant, but he was too embarrassed to ask anybody, so he just used his logic, and he's like, okay, it comes after bathroom, so it must mean loose or hard. So for a summer, my dad had his campers come get him after they took shits.
Oh my God, are you serious?
So that he could go look at them.
Oh my God.
And make a rough guesstimate if it was indeed loose or hard.
Oh my God.
I love that so much. It just means there's like a generation of old men in therapy who are like, well, I did have a camp counselor that was like obsessed with my shit. You were sexually abused.
Really? Really?
Oh, it meant let her home.
Oh, okay. That probably makes a little
But
sense.
thank God he didn't ask. That would have been so embarrassing.
Oh, okay. Okay, that was funny. Jeez. Talk about confusion, man. I can only imagine what would be taking place in either his head or my head if I was a kid at that camp. Oh, that is crazy. Okay, y'all, that was Sarah Silverman with Dad Taught Her the Most Tasteless Jokes. Well, what to say about that? Well, the first thing she said was something that, oh boy, rang very close to home in my ears. I was a chronic bedwetter until I was 13 years old. You know, not quite 15, but you never forget that kind of an embarrassing time in your life. You know, I tried, you know what I mean? Me and my pops used to have conversations because he knew the deal with me, man. It was a big, huge problem for me. I knew I would get made fun of if people found out. I had a couple people who knew what the deal was. My sister Crystal, of course, and my boy C-Dab, the CEO. He knew what the deal was, but he didn't clown me. He just knew it was an issue that I had, which is why I was never allowed to stay the night at his house. His mom would have whooped my ass if I pissed on anything. But, you know, until I was 13 years old, and my pops, whenever something about going to stay overnight somewhere came up, it was always a big deal until after 13, of course. But he was like, "Now, Tom, I'm telling you right now, boy, you better not." And I'd just be like, "Okay, pops, I know, whatever." And if I could put it on a percentage scale, if I would have gone anywhere 20 times to stay the night somewhere like 13 and younger, out of those 20 times, I was probably safe maybe 16, 17 times out of the 20. But those 3 or 4 times, man, it was always like, oh boy, now I gotta do some juggling to see if I can hide this somehow. And it was trippy, you know. It was embarrassing growing up knowing that you have to sleep with plastic on your under your bed sheets and stuff. But I could only imagine what that was like for Sarah Silverman growing up too, man. You know, I never went to any camps. In fact, let me take that back. I went to one camp. It was for my youth group, church youth group, and we went to a camp called Camp Baraka. I don't know if anybody here in Washington State who lives here, who tunes in, knows about that place, but I went there. It was when the snow was coming down and all that. It was actually pretty cool. It led to a lot of heartache and getting, you know, played around with by certain young females at the time. But, oh man, it was still fun just to go there. And didn't have any issues with it there either, you know, which was a plus for me. But the couple of times it was, man, I was able to slide past it, but it was like a time where I'm like cleaning up my mess, trying to cover my tracks, and I'm crying my eyes out. Why did this have to happen? I'm just trying to hang with my friends. Yeah, it was a bad time, y'all. But getting to what she said though about her dad, I did not. My grandparents didn't have that type of oblivion in them. They didn't give me a list of books with tasteless jokes on them or nothing like that. Pops was a deacon at the church. He was a Christian man, and Oma was just like a sweet old lady who had her moments where she let some funny things slide out her mouth, but for the most part, it was pretty G-rated in my house. You know, unless you messed up and then Pops would cuss you out because he was about ready to whoop your ass. But, you know, for the most part, it was pretty civil. And I didn't get to run into things like this the way I probably would have preferred. You know, it would have been a lot more fun. But, you know, I don't really know how to, you know, describe my childhood. You know, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either. You know, it was always pretty much like a weird, lean mixture of the highs and lows. You know what I mean? I'm surprised I wasn't on psych meds or anything like that growing up. Probably would have been more warranted back then. I will admit that. But you know, to have certain things that you did when you were younger, and then you're a parent, and then you got kids. Like, well, maybe they'll like it. Don't always go for that, man, because it's a bullshit racket. You know what I mean? I remember when I was young, and it came time to go to middle school finally. And I was sent to a middle school that my aunts and uncles went to, and my mom, you know what I mean? Like some of the teachers who taught them were still there, and that was just like, that pissed me off a lot. I was like, I don't want to be one of those kids that goes, oh, I raised your mama and your uncle and your... I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. And the reason that I mostly didn't care was because most of the drama that was with me at my previous elementary school followed me to this middle school. I'm like, can you please just send me somewhere else, please? And they didn't. And then when that was over with, that ended in expulsion. Then high school comes around and they send me to another school that they went to that I didn't want no part of. And that ended horribly too, expulsion. And like the same stuff, the nonsense that was in middle school followed me to high school. It's like, I was like, don't ever try to follow in your parents' footsteps. You know what I mean? If it happens just naturally, then fine. That's cool. But don't just try to set it up that way and just think that it's gonna go the same way that it went for you, parents. Don't do that, you know what I mean? Have a little bit more respect and have a little bit more compassion for your kids, in my opinion at least. But yeah, man, at the end part though, with the whole loosen the heart thing, I can only imagine what it would be like if I had to go take a shit and then I had to go get my camp counselor and be like, hey, can you come take a look at this? Even I, as a kid, would have thought something was up. But you know, the fact that he didn't know that is just another ego defense for a lot of older gentlemen, where they don't want to ask for help. They don't want to assume that they're wrong about something, and that's irritating as hell. But hey, man, you can only win so many battles as a parent, obviously. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off right there. This was hella funny. One more time, y'all. Sarah Silverman with Dad Taught Her the Most Tasteless Jokes. And if you like that reaction, please like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. Keep everything going. Like I always say. So yeah, man, that was hella funny, man. You know, I'm glad I was able to get to Sarah Silverman, because there's still a lot of female stand-up comedy that I want to get to, and you know, I might in the future make this day maybe two more clips on top of just one, just so I can say I'm getting to a lot more. But then again, I don't want to run out of my supply either. Not that I would run out of my supply, ladies. Don't get all up in arms at me or nothing like that. I just gotta make sure I'm covering all my ends. So yeah, man, this is gonna be ADB TV signing off. One more again here. Women's Wednesday, another one in the books. And I like to think that I started off pretty good with this whole thing. Didn't start off good with the whole them blocking my Whitney Cummings bit. Thanks a lot, YouTube. But I don't even know if it's YouTube's fault, man. Maybe it's whoever, yeah, it was Comedy Central, man. I was like, what's up with them? I don't get it, you know what I mean? It's just like, I see so many people putting clips on, but yet some of them are accumulating hundreds of thousands of views, and then all of a sudden I'm less than a couple of months in and I'm getting blocks, you know what I mean? I don't know. I might have to just figure some more things out, but study a little bit more. But hey, let's just breathe and just try to keep positive with laughter and love instead of anger and fury and rage. But yeah, man, thank y'all for tuning into this one with me one more time. Sarah Silverman was hella funny, and definitely got to get some more of her in the future as well. So thank y'all for tuning in one more time. Love and appreciate y'all. Peace.